Hello and welcome. In today's video I'm going to share with you the 5 best ARK cave tames, and before we get into it, make sure to like and subscribe as it really does help the channel. In at number 5 is the Megalosaurus. Now this really is an insane caving creature as long as you have a cryopod, as this thing isn't going to fit into every cave entrance. This thing also does actually spawn in caves as well, so it does really make sense why it is a great caving creature. But also, don't use this thing in the daytime as it is going to be an absolute pain. But as soon as it turns night, this thing is an absolute walking menace. It has an insane amount of melee damage and a reasonable health stat to go along with it. Just maybe don't fight Microraptors with it, as that isn't going to end well. But as you can see here, it is actually utilizing one of its abilities. It will grab creatures in its mouth and absolutely demolish them, and they have no way of attacking back. And this is truly a great ability for just getting rid of all of those tiny creatures that are just really annoying you, like Microraptors, and in this case, definitely Microraptors. But this thing is also great at killing many other creatures as well. This thing has a very reasonable amount of melee damage and will basically kill anything that it attacks. A baryonyx, very easy. A spino, also very easy. And you could even do something like a giga or a carcharodontosaurus. And if you're really going for it, maybe a titanosaur. Also, another feature that they have which makes them really great for caving is they are actually very mobile and they are reasonably small. Obviously not as small as a baryonyx is, but they will still fit into most caves, and if you have cryopods, these things will be fine in any cave. These are a definite caving creature if you can shell out for the mild difficulty in taming one. In at number 4 is the mantis. Now personally, I think this is actually a great creature for caves. Obviously not underwater caves, and I probably wouldn't bring it into caves with lava as well, but this thing is still great for most of ARK's caves. Namely, it is quite a small creature. This thing will fit into pretty much any cave, and if you do have a cryopod, all of those little tight gaps, this thing should be able to get through, as you can just cryo it up, walk through yourself, and then cryo it outside of that gap. But the main reason why these things are actually good for caving, especially in quicker caves, is their ability that they can equip melee weapons. So you can have some pikes on your mantis, or in this case, swords, and you can just plow through loads and loads of insects. You will just have to be wary about their health stat though, as sometimes that can be a bit iffy, and you really don't want to get your mantis killed, as these things are a little bit of a pain to tame, as they require a ghillie suit, bug repellent, and either deathworm horns or woolly rhino horns. And it can take quite a lot of them if you are taming a high level, and if you're doing caves, you probably are going to want to tame yourself a high level, as you don't want this thing to absolutely suck in a cave. But if you do tame a mantis of reasonable level, these things will be great for any cave runs you have. Just remember, like I've said many times, to really keep an eye on that health. In at number 3 is the megatherium. Now if you didn't know about the megatherium special ability, then you will not know how good of an insect killer this thing has. And actually one of the main enemies that you will face in any kind of caves are insects, so it really does make sense why this thing deserves to be on this list. This thing is absolutely insane for killing insects, and it is the best creature by far for that. And especially in the caves with just so many insect enemies, having one of these things on your side is great. But there are some disadvantages to these things, namely they are quite big, so they're not really going to fit into smaller caves, and you're going to have to utilize cryopods, and then you'll probably have to wait for some cryosickness timers, as any tight squeeze in a cave this thing probably isn't going to fit through. But in some of ARK's bigger caves, this thing will definitely be great for the job, and it will be great for the job in any of these smaller caves as well, unless it's that one ice cave where you have to crouch the whole time. This thing is not going to fit, don't even try that. And pretty much for that cave, no creature's going to fit at all. But for those caves of reasonable size with loads and loads and loads of insects in it, these things are a great shout as they will plow through them with ease. And you can also utilize other creatures in the cave as well, but have this as a backup. In at number 2 is the Thyla. Now this thing actually is a really great cave creature. Yes, you may want to take something like a saber-tooth in, but I find they don't really do enough damage and they don't have enough health to rack up in most cave situations. And the Thyla definitely does deal enough damage and has enough health and agility to get the job done. The Thyla is equipped with a wealth of abilities, namely its bleed ability when it attacks. This is insanely useful when attacking any kind of creature. Yes, it does not have a buff, which is insane at attacking insects, but this thing can still really pack a punch. Overall, this thing is a very good creature for caving and better than the megatherium, mainly because it is a lot smaller, and for caving, the size of the creature is probably one of the main factors. Obviously, health is going to be very important and damage as well, as you do need your creature to actually fight through the enemies and you need it to survive, but size is really something you need to consider, and the Thyla is a reasonable size for caving. It may not fit into every cave entrance, but with cryopods, this thing will be fine in almost every cave. But don't take this thing to underwater caves, as it is just going to drown. They are actually okay at swimming, so if the cave you're trying to run has a few underwater sections, these things will be fine, but don't take them into the underwater caves. And in at number 1 is the baryonyx. Now these things are definitely a favourite of mine, and I personally think every ARK player should tame one of these things, especially if you are doing caving, as that is one of the main reasons to tame this thing. This thing is by far the beast of doing any cave run. Firstly, this thing has a very reasonable melee stat, and it will get you through any cave enemy that you can find. Unless you're going through hordes of insects, the megatherium is still going to be the best at that. But also, on top of that, it does have a reasonable health stat as well. This thing is going to survive through any cave run that you go through. And these things have a horde of special abilities on top of that. Now, if you didn't know already, the baryonyx has a secret ability underwater. When the baryonyx goes underwater and you press C on your keyboard, it will have a spinning ability. This thing works as an attack. It's not going to do any damage, but it is going to stun any creature up to the size of a megalodon. So this actually makes the baryonyx a very viable creature for doing the underwater caves. Yes, a basilo would be a great shout as well, but if you're on a bit of a budget, I might say, the baryonyx is a great shout for doing those underwater caves as well. Also, on top of that, this thing's size is absolutely perfect. This thing fits into almost any cave, apart from that one cave where literally no creature can fit in, and that makes this thing so much more useful, as you do not have to wait for cryo timers, and in most cases you don't even need to use cryopods, so if you do not have access to them yet, the baryonyx is a great shout. So thank you to my wonderful patrons Ekaterina Puchkova, Karina Thorne, Dominic Mesijewski, and Ethan Tapia, who have all supported me through Patreon or through YouTube memberships. If you want to join this list, then go join Patreon or YouTube members, but thanks to all of these guys.